The line at the grocery store was moving normally until the single dad noticed the tremble in the young mother's hands. She wasn't buying much. Just bread, milk, and a small jar of baby food. But the way she counted her coins, slowly, painfully, whispering numbers under her breath, froze him in place. Her face showed that this wasn't just a payment, it was a battle. A quiet, desperate battle she was losing. Before the story continues, dear viewers, if you're watching this on Whispers of Kindness, please like, share, comment your thoughts, and subscribe so these real emotional stories can reach more hearts. Your support means everything. He shifted his own grocery basket from one hand to the other and glanced down at his son, Ion, who was tugging on his sleeve, asking for candy he didn't really need. The father was used to saying, no use to living on a tight budget. Used to cutting corners since his wife had passed 2 years earlier, but the child in him who wanted to provide everything still ached. But that ache, it was nothing compared to what he saw in that mother's eyes. She looked young, too young to be carrying the weight of the world. Her clothes were neat, but worn. Her hair was tied hurriedly, strands falling over her face as she tried to hide the embarrassment burning in her cheeks. Behind her, in a second-hand stroller, her baby fussed, quietly from hunger. The cashier scanned the items. The total glowed on the screen, and the mother's face fell. She was short by just a few rupees, but short nonetheless. She whispered, please, can I put the bread back? I need the milk more, the cashier sighed, irritated. The customers behind her shifted impatiently. No one cared. No one moved, except him. The single dad stepped forward. Don't put anything back. I'll take care of it, he said softly. The mother spun towards him, startled. No, please. I can't let you do that. I don't even know you. I know, he replied gently. But I also know what it feels like to need help. Her lips trembled, her eyes filling with tears. She tried to blink away. I'll pay you back somehow, I promise. You don't owe me anything, he said. Just take care of your little one. The cashier bagged the items. The mother nodded, unable to speak, then turned away quickly, maybe because she didn't want anyone to see her cry. But that moment, it changed something in her and in him, and neither of them knew just how intertwined their stories would become. The next few days moved like they usually did for him: work, home, cooking, cleaning, helping Ion with homework. Single parenting wasn't easy. It was a constant juggling act, a constant fear of failing, a constant longing for the partner he lost. But he also believed life had its way of circling back, bringing people together for a reason. He didn't expect to see her again, but life had different plans. One evening, as he picked up Ion from the daycare, he saw the same young mother sitting on a bench outside, crying quietly. Her baby slept in her arms, unaware of the world's cruelties. He hesitated should he leave her alone, but the memory of her trembling hands at the store pulled him forward. Are you okay? He asked gently. She wiped her face quickly, embarrassed. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cause a scene. You're not. What's wrong? She hesitated, then whispered, I lost my job today. He sat beside her, keeping a respectful distance. I'm sorry. That's tough. I don't know what to do, she said. Rent is due. My baby needs formula. I don't have family here. My husband. She swallowed hard. He left before our son was even born. Familiar ache gripped him. Lost, abandonment, struggle, pain that life sometimes gives without warning. What's your name? He asked Santa. She said softly. And this little one is Hattie. I'm Imran, he said. And that troublemaker is my son Ion. Ion waved shyly. Little Hattie slept peacefully, unaware his mother's world was falling apart. Listen, Imran said slowly, thinking carefully. I know things are hard right now, but you don't have to face it alone. If you want, I can help you look for a new job. I know a few people, and if you ever need someone to watch Hattie for a few hours, I can do that too. Sana blinked at him, shocked. Why are you helping me? Twice now. He looked at her as if the answer was simple. Because someday someone helped me when I needed it most. And because kindness should always continue. That sentence broke her. She cried again, quiet, grateful tears. and that night was the beginning of a new chapter neither of them expected. Over the next few weeks, Imran became a quiet support in her life. He drove her to interviews. He brought groceries when he could. He looked after little Hattie when she needed a few hours to breathe. Sometimes, she cooked food for him and I on his thanks. Sometimes, they spent evenings at the park together, watching their children play. Sometimes, when the nights were heavy and her worries felt like walls closing in, he reminded her that she wasn't alone anymore. She learned that. Imran battled loneliness of his own, the loneliness of raising a child without a partner, the fear of not doing enough, the pain of a heart that healed slowly. He learned that Santa carried scars of abandonment, the fear of trusting, the fear of being a burden, the fear of losing anything good that came into her life. Together, slowly, without realizing, they began healing, but healing never comes without challenges. Santa's new job paid little. Her landlord threatened eviction. Her baby fell sick one night, and she had no money for medicine. Imran rushed her to the clinic, stayed with her, soothed her fears, and refused to leave her side. But he also faced struggles, extra shifts at work, rising expenses, pressure from his own family who didn't understand why he was helping a stranger woman. People talked. Whispers turned into gossip. Gossip turned into hurdles. But when two people have hearts that understand pain, their bond becomes stronger than people's opinions. Through every storm, they stood for each other. And one evening, as they sat at the park watching the sunset, Sana whispered to Imran, "Why do you always show up for us?" He looked at her, really looked at her, and said, "Because when I lost my wife, I promised myself, if I ever saw someone drowning the way I once did, I wouldn't look away." Tears slipped down her cheeks. "I don't know how to repay you." "You don't have to repay me," he said. "Just don't give up on life." She smiled, a real smile, the first he had seen on her face. Months passed. Sana found a better job. Hattie grew stronger. She learned to stand on her feet again, and Imran. He found something he didn't expect: companionship, trust, sense of belonging he thought he'd lost forever. They weren't a couple, not yet, but their hearts had already shifted towards each other. One day, the same grocery store where everything began, Sana held out money to Imran. "This is for what you paid that day." "I never forgot." Imran laughed softly. "I told you there was no debt. Please," she said, "let me return at least this much. Let me feel like I'm standing on my own legs again." He looked at the money, then gently pushed her hand down. "You already did." The day you smiled again, her eyes softened. "You saved me, Imran," I always said. We saved each other. Life didn't suddenly become perfect. They still had struggles: jobs, bills, childcare, society's judgments. But they had something stronger: hope, support, friendship, and a kindness that began with a few pennies and a trembling hand. The story ends with this truth: sometimes God sends help through strangers. Sometimes kindness builds families long before love admits itself. Sometimes the smallest gesture, paying for someone's groceries, can change to lives forever. Before you go, dear viewers, if this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness. Your comments tell us you're listening, and your support helps us keep spreading kindness, one story at a time. Thank you for being here. Stay kind.